from the UWI campus, we bring to you Voices Unmasked, stories from the COVID-19, a special program brought to you by the UWI Library Health and Wellness Committee, LHEWco. I am Tamar Heron, better known as Stretch. Welcome. Firstly, let us pause to reflect on God's grace and mercy. For because of Him, we are here and we are alive. We are alive. We mourn with the loss of life and we empathize with those who are still suffering from this deadly virus. In Jamaica, it all started March 10, 2020, when Jamaica recorded its first imported case of the COVID-19. The World Health Organization declared coronavirus a world pandemic. Like so many other countries, Jamaica shut down, businesses closed, schools went online. Life as we knew it suddenly became history. 1 year later, Jamaica has recorded over 39,000 cases with more than 600 deaths. Let that sink in. In this program, we unmask some remarkable stories from right across the campuses of the University of the West Indies. We bring you stories of survivors, stories of struggles, stories of creative opportunities seized in the midst of adversity. First, we hear from the Pro-Vice Chancellor and the Principal of the University of the West Indies, Mona Campus, Professor Dale Weber.
Colleagues, friends, staff, students, greetings. 1 year ago, our lives changed. COVID took control, but we have responded, and we responded well. The university set up a task force which advised government, and this was a great thing to do. The campus set up a management team which advised the campus how we could go about managing this COVID crisis. They dealt with plans, they dealt with spacing, they dealt with sanitation, they dealt with how we could reopen, even in part. The faculty response was tremendous. Faculty put their courses online in a way that we've never thought possible. Through our midst, we were able to turn 1,300 courses that were face-to-face to an online mode. But perhaps one of the most tremendous mechanisms that we found on the campus was our library. The library was able to allow us to have tablets and laptops which were donated by friends far and wide, being made available to students who had device issues. They were library loans, and that was a brilliant concept. Thank you so much, library. But you also made resources available. You also continued consultations. You also gave advice. And the library, more than many other places, made us go online because the library is still the heart of an academic institution. So here we are a year later. We've been able to manage so far, and numbers continue to go up and down. But it is our resolute goal to continue to provide quality education without fear of compromise. It is our goal that our staff and students remain engaged. It is our goal that the University of the West Indies remains that light rising from the west. Thank you for all you've done. We can do the rest of this together. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Lindsay. I am a librarian in the West Indies and Special Collections section of the main library. I tested positive for COVID in the first week of December. Now, I got the test because a colleague phoned to inform me that she had tested positive and she was advising me to do so. So about 3 days after she told me, I got the test, and I was informed about a day and a half later that I was positive. Now, I had mild symptoms. I had what I had thought was sinusitis and maybe fever for about 2 days and just general tiredness. So I didn't have a respiratory problem or anything really serious. However, afterwards, I developed certain things. For example, before I got COVID, I was exercising. I was exercising like 3 times a week. I had 2 really intense sessions. And the day that my colleague told me that she was positive and I should get tested, I was planning to go on this very long, challenging walk. After COVID, well, I couldn't exercise. I was too tired all the time. I developed a back problem, which I didn't have before. All that strength that I had built up basically disappeared. I get tired very easily, still 3 months after the fact. And I have what they call brain fog, which means that when I get tired, my concentration levels just disappear. I struggle to concentrate. My short-term memory has always been spotty. That was just a thing with me. But after I got COVID, I have to write down everything. I forget things literally from 1 hour to another. So I have to write down everything. If I have meetings, if I have a task planned, anything, I have to write it down or I'm going to forget. I also forget like common words. Like I would be talking and a word that I would know that would come automatically, it has just disappeared from my brain and I won't remember until after the fact. So when people tell you that, oh, I'm asymptomatic and I had it mild, there are things that happen afterwards. COVID is not something that you should take lightly, okay? Because you don't necessarily have to get very sick, but the after effects linger. Because I'm still struggling to this day. I have to be very careful. And I will suddenly just get tired for no reason. One day I'll be feeling fine, and then I get tired for no reason. So I have to take it one day at a time. I have started exercising back yet. I'm actually starting this weekend. Don't know how it's going to go, but I wanted to start exercising as a way to rebuild my strength and capacity. So I'm just telling persons out there, I don't care what people are telling you. COVID is serious. You can either have mild symptoms and have long after effects, or have it seriously, end up in hospital and have very serious after effects. There is no middle ground with this disease, all right? You do not take it lightly. So when people tell you to follow the protocols, wear your mask, keep the 6 feet or more, okay? Work from home if you have to. Just follow the protocols because you do not want to get this. I promise you. All right? Thank you.
My name is Jessica Lewis Marshall, and I was infected with COVID in late 2020. I first started to feel sick on Monday evening. I was having my usual kind of sinus symptoms, so I was a little perturbed, but kind of just wanting to see the symptoms out. By Tuesday, I was feeling better. And by Tuesday night, I was definitely having fever and chills. So Wednesday, I went and did a rapid test, and I found out that I was COVID positive. I immediately alerted the workplace, and we followed the UWI's COVID-19 confirmed case protocol. While I was having COVID, I had thoughts for the safety of my colleagues, thoughts for the safety of my family, who by the end of that week, they were all positive too. And I started a kind of journey of getting deeper into the symptoms, and my level of sickness started to increase. I remember having a very, very high fever, absolutely no appetite, and I even had a few hallucinations, and my oxygen levels started to plummet. Was able to get a doctor to visit me at home to tend to me and my family members. At that point in time, it was suggested that I go to the hospital, and I was admitted to the UHWI on the Sunday of that weekend. From there was quite intense. I received extremely good care from the UHWI and the staff members there, and I credit my full recovery to them. I was hospitalized for 12 days, and in that period I had some very, very dark times. I was on high flow oxygen, and I really had to battle for my life. And I've had to kind of share that experience with persons who've been recently infected, and with my community recently, and kind of helped other people to try and realize that it is a battle if you become severely ill, and you have to kind of really dig deep, pray, ask for God's grace, and do as you're told and instructed by your physicians. Ultimately, COVID is very, very, very real and highly dangerous. I was discharged 12 days later, but unfortunately 2 days prior to my discharge, my mother was admitted, and we were both on ward at the UHWI. As I was on my way to recovery, she was having her own battle at that time. Unfortunately, she battled for another 14 days. She had to be intubated and put on a ventilator, and ultimately succumb to COVID-19, or the damage that COVID-19 had done to her body. Overall, the experience has been extremely traumatic. The loss of my mother, I'm still processing it. But there also have been some lessons that have been learned. I would say that the first lesson is that you have to have faith in a higher power, and pray for God's grace and guidance. And that was something that was very present on the COVID ward. People were very, very spiritual. There's a lot of gospel music being played, hymns, people praying for each other, especially during the long nights. Another lesson I learned was the value of living in the now. Things can change at any minute. I never expected to catch COVID at the time that I did. I had been following all of the precautions. And so you need to value the time that you have with friends, family, now, and live in the moment. This is something that I'm still working on. And lastly, that self-care is very, very important. It's actually paramount. We have to take care of ourselves in order to be able to weather life's many storms, of which COVID is the one that we are all battling now. And so it's very important that as we go through life, and we make sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can manage and take care of others.
Hey, yo, yellow, his hair, hi hair. Hi guys, my name is Nevin Roach, and I am a program assistant here at the KFL campus with the Academy of Sport. I am also the founder of Panogramma. Now, Panogramma is an international steel pan competition that showcases talent from around the world to provide wholesome, family-oriented and world-class entertainment. It was essentially born out of COVID. You know, during the heights of COVID restrictions and lockdowns in 2020, we were all at home, we couldn't go anywhere. And let's face it, we were all looking for some form of entertainment. And, you know, one day it hit me. I said to myself, well, Nevin, you can do something like this for Pan. And I would never forget, I got the idea on a Monday. And by the Thursday of that very same week, you know, I had a flyer out, I had a website up, and I was advertising, trying to get panists into the competition. I think in comparison to other events on social media, Panogramma is unique in its own right. For me, I think Panogramma is very entertaining, it's very engaging, and it was one of the biggest events. It's already been hyped in media throughout the region. I have already been on News Talk in Jamaica, big up that station, yeah. And this year, it's set to be bigger and better, let me tell you. Auditions finish March the 21st. We have not even started the competition. That is all done in May 7th, right? And the Facebook page has a reach of like 90,000. This is going to be lit. It is going to be crazy this year. So make sure pano.grammar on Instagram, pano-grammar.com. Connect and keep up to date. Alright? Last year, Panis would have benefited through networking and building their fan base and just showcasing their talents to the world. And today, you know, I sit back on what I achieved last year. And this year, it has been dubbed the World Cup of Steel Pan. And that in itself, you know, kind of puts into perspective how big I am thinking about this thing. I have huge plans. This year, the prizes have gotten a facelift. The winner last year got 500 US and a private session with a world-renowned panist. And this year, the winner would take home 1,000 US cash, a trip to Canada to perform for Sons and Steel. Oh, and by the way, people who are watching this, one thing I would like to leave with you guys is don't sit on your ideas. Some people will think your ideas are crazy, they wouldn't believe in it, but you do what you have to do and make those ideas a reality. Bless.
Hi, I'm Andrea Walker, and I am an admin assistant at LHEWco campus. During the COVID-19 lockdown, I discovered that I am an artist. It all started with when my daughter, who had a painting sit for her birthday on February 9th, had introduced me to painting. And I fell in love with it. And a year later, I have 150 or so paintings in my collection. In terms of my art experience, I would say I had little to none, because the last time I honestly remember painting, I possibly was in third form at secondary school. So this whole idea of acrylic and canvas was something new to me and exciting. And basically I paint any and everything. I am a philosopher by training, and I think that has influenced the way I paint, because I see all nature as there waiting to be transposed on my canvas. So far I've sold to my friends, my close friends, a few family members, and plenty colleagues at the UWI. Mostly academic though. Mostly academic, and mostly in the best faculty, humanities and education. The opportunities from being in quarantine and lockdown for me as a up and coming artist were quite a few. But I think I benefited because when history has shown that when things like this happen, the humanities flourish and people get more into the like painting and music and food and so on and so forth. So that benefited me, and I was able to make back, even though art is a very expensive hobby in Barbados, I was able to break even and even make a slight profit from selling my art. And I continue to sell my art. I'm quite proud and happy with where I'm at right now.
My name is Paola Palma. I'm a foreign language instructor at the UWI St. Augustine campus. And due to COVID, I have been teaching fully online for the past year. When we first transitioned to online teaching, I realized that many of my students, the ones that used to be very quiet in the classroom, all of a sudden became more active in the virtuality. But at the same time, the ones that used to be more active in the classroom and more participating were completely quiet or were very quiet. So I started asking questions to find out what was going on with them. And I found out that many of them were not coping with the virtuality, that they could not focus, they didn't have quiet spaces at home or the time to dedicate to studying. This whole thing really pushes us to think differently, to plan differently, to consider other things that we didn't consider before, and also to realize that the reality of our students is not what we think. We think that because they are university students, they have access to many things. Now that they are at their houses, we found that their families are really not supportive, that when the students are in class, you hear music, you hear people quarreling in the background. They are in class and the families call them to go and do something for their parents because, they are at home. And they told us that because they don't have the space to study or anything, that they used to have that when they were at UWI, but they don't have that at home. And their parents don't see that they are still studying, that they still have those responsibilities. Also, we heard about cases of students who don't have internet access or don't have a computer at home. And I had a student that she had to go to the neighbor to use the neighbor's internet. And she never participated in class. She never had the camera or the microphone on. She was just there online. And one day I told her, but what's going on with you? Like, you show no interest, you show no engagement. And then she wrote me a big email saying, well, this is my situation. I'm using my neighbor's internet. My neighbor's children are also in class, so I don't want to turn on my microphone because if I talk, I will be interrupting their classes. So those are things that we never realized they were going on. Only some students have come forward to say it. Also, a lot of pressure and mental health issues. Now that life has come back to some sort of normality or the new normality, I think it's time for us to start reflecting on these experiences and what we learned from all of this. Try to continue finding ways to improve what hasn't been working, but most importantly, try to keep to keep the things that were functioning either before or during this last year. Continue thinking outside the box, continue looking for different ways to improve, to help, to offer support, especially to our students. So that's my reflection for today.
You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My guidance reminds me of when we were young.
Hi, my name is Charlton Ali. I'm one of the Sport Activity Development Assistant in the Open Campus Academy of Sport, and we are under the Faculty of Sport in the UWI. Well, this event came about during the COVID-19 pandemic, during the lockdown and the quarantine periods, where a lot of people were locked down in their own homes. Our staff and our students within the Open Campus community, most of their social engagements have been cancelled, and we wanted to do something to keep that togetherness within the Open Campus. So what we came up with was an event, a virtual live show. So what we did now, we created an event in one space, a safe space, and that safe space was your own home. We turned people's homes into a stage. So your living room, we turned your living room into a stage. So that's where you had an opportunity to be a part of our virtual show, to showcase not only what the Open Campus could offer, but the talent within our Open Campus community. We came up with the Open Campus Got Stars, OC Got Stars. So what we did, we created our virtual live show into reality. It was time for motion. It was time for showtime.
Everyone who has joined us this evening, thank you so much for being with us at OC Got Stars.
Held those lips, tell me 21 lies. You'll be the death of me, sage advice.
Do you know beaches like maracas and toco, or food like doubles?
Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do.
The city lights, no expensive rides. One day I have to come back to village life.
Our main target for participants in this show was our students and our staff, and we had some invitees, some honorary participants who we invited to partake in our live show. Well-known artists around the Caribbean also. So they raised the level and the standard of the show, and this was well received. We had our first show had over about 1,000 viewers engaged in conversation, and when it came to our second show, it was an OC Christmas. That was one of our biggest shows thus far. We had over 5,000 viewers and over 6,000 to 7,000 people being interactive on all the social media platforms. During the COVID-19 pandemic, there were two major events that got cancelled, and this was due to the coronavirus. There was one event that always brings our region together, our people together, which is sport. Our student games, which is called the UB Games, and the UWI staff games. Both events got cancelled, and that was an opportunity where we used to see our colleagues around the region face to face in one space. So because of these cancellation of these games, the committee that was put together, our vision was to ensure that how we keep everyone together and that love that we share when we see each other in one space. Well, for the OC Got Stars, we started this vision of a virtual live show. It can move from point A to point B, and who knows what the future lies for the show. But for me, I'm thinking one day we might have one UWI virtual live show for all our campuses to be a part of this show. So our UWI community and beyond, let's follow all the relevant protocols, all the relevant COVID-19 policies and procedures. Let us sanitize, wear our masks, social distancing, and let's face this weather together. And let us continue to be the rising star from the
This we know for certain, that COVID-19 writes the script. Given an inch, and it takes a mile. But we also know that it's also possible to survive COVID-19. We have come to the end. We thank the contributors for sharing their stories and their words of hope, which reaffirms that we are resilient in the Caribbean. And the COVID-19 will not weaken our resolve. Together, we can overcome. Together, we can overcome. My parting words to you, as I reiterate, take care of yourself and each other. Follow the COVID-19 protocols. Stay at home. Or as we'll say in Jamaica, tan a your yard. Tan a your yard. I am Stretch. Thank you for watching. Walk good.